Good Sunday morning and welcome to GM Tips. GM Rick here. Now, it may be a different day for you. This is Sundays when I'm recording it, just the weekend before Thanksgiving. So, I don't know. Some of you guys celebrate it around the world or in the U.S., some of you don't. I'm not going to get into the holidays. My only take on things real quick before we jump into GM Tips, chill out and enjoy a break. Whether you agree with why it's there or not, I understand mistakes were made making the country, everything else. Believe me, I understand. I have a part indigenous girlfriend, so I understand. Okay, um, but let's just enjoy the holiday. Okay, let's enjoy our time. All right. That said, GM tips. GM Rick here, wearing my Doctor Who TARDIS shirt. Aha! Love being a geek. I do. I will never change that aspect of me. I love being a geek. I will always say that. Today's topic: the art of letting go. And it's an interesting topic because I think it really challenges us as a GM. Now, again, I've been doing a real nice walk through Kobold's Press's Guide to Campaigns. Get it. I really do like the book. I think it's well worth the money spent, at least on the PDF, if not on the book itself. I hope to get a hardcover copy of it someday. I really do like it because I think when it comes to learning how to GM, it gives a lot of great tips for the young GMs, especially the intermediate GMs, definitely, and the seasoned veterans like us who have been here a long time. But let's be honest, we can relearn our craft in so many ways. Um, the art of letting go. Why is that important? Well, let's take a look at it. You, the GM, designed this beautiful campaign, and I saw it just recently with one of my friends from Sweden who's a GM with her group. It's amazing how you come in and you think you've prepared the best adventure for your players or the best campaign. Or maybe you feel a little insecure and you don't know whether you've prepared the best campaign or not. You get into the campaign. And I love what Zeb Cook has to say on this because this is perfect when it comes to it. A GM sets out to run a game. They are good with stories. They know how to create a good plot. Okay, so say you are that GM that knows how to do all this. Maybe even you've had a fiction or adventures published somewhere in the published world. Um, there's a lot of us that have. Again, you think, man, I know this. I know how to write a story. The plot is intricate and exciting. It's got lots of hooks, like we talked about. It's got lots of paths they can go. It's all over the place, and it's got plenty of twists and turns, ups and downs, and everything. You even have great puzzles and a wonderful, believable villain that is going to just draw the players in. You're feeling all your confidence. You feel like, yes, I got this. I really have this. Um, you know all the steps of the tale. You know where to take people. You can't wait for the players to do that. And by the end of the first night, there is complete and utter chaos. Your plot and your campaign has gone down in flames. And I mean, we're talking majorly flames. The players argued with the town folk they're supposed to help. They ticked off the good guy that was supposed to hire them, or the bad guy, the nefarious bad guy that was supposed to hire them. They have gone opposite every plot direction and hook you could have possibly laid out. They're ignorant to the intrigue going on by the NPCs that you've woven in fact, to the point to where you just want to scream. All the saving throws they were supposed to make and make it through the situation by the seat of their pants, they failed, and three of the players are dead, the characters, by the end of that scenario. How do you handle this? Now, some of you are laughing and going, there's no way this happens. Oh, but it does. And oh, but it does come apart sometimes in flaming ruins, just like I've talked about. Some of you GMs right now are nodding, and some of you DMs are nodding, going, oh, my Lord, yes. Oh, what am I doing? Why am I even putting up with this? In fact, I will name the fun GM that the other night was telling, or DM that was telling me how her things were going so south because I loved it so much. I was just saying, the plot for her, two of the players missed the saving throws, and then there's a lich in the campaign. So the third player is trying to make a deal with the lich to bring the other two back. Yeah, some of you DMs already are going, oh no, 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 no. And this wonderful DM by the name, hang on here, I'm going to give her credit since I'm using her material from the one night. She calls herself Name or King Amadusius. At King Amadusius. And I'm just sitting here going, oh my, at the end of the day. It does go like that sometimes. And that's the art of learning to let go. So what are the wrong tools that we can use in a campaign situation when everything is going in ashes, just like the one night? First of all, a carefully laid out plot. You can design it, and we all do. And let's face it, I'm not telling you not to do that. However, the writing tools we use sometimes, we want to put everything into an orderly box, and that's where we go wrong. Let's face it, a lot of us don't like chaos. We want to be in control as a DM or GM. We really and truly do. And when chaos reigns, we're going, oh, please help me. I want to bang my head on the table. I don't know if I want a GM anymore. There are days we all feel that. Our players aren't passive viewers. I had one guy arguing with me, and you're probably going to watch this video, and you're probably going to argue with me again from the group. He was in one of my groups that I post my stuff up in Gamers Against Boredom. He got really spicy when he says, why do you weave all these intricate different loops of where they can go? Because at the end of the day, the players don't appreciate that. They don't know if they're going down a railroaded path or not. I strongly disagree with him on that. Players do know. They know when they're being allotted into published material and following a direction, even if we're great GMs, they know. Quit trying to make the players passive viewers. We do that, and Zeb makes a great point on that. Bad movies show their script way ahead of time, and where the script is going. Great movies, when we sit in the movie world, we don't even know what the plot may be, but it's unfolding little by little, and it's just so cool because the pictures are flying up, and we're sitting here going, wow, it could go this way, or it could be this person, or this one could be the bad guy, or I don't even know who the real bad guy is and why. Games enable our players to build their characters' own stories. Yes, we have a plot maybe we want them to follow. Evil Squeegee does a great job of this. And Squeege is one of the people on Twitter. He's a very seasoned GM. And he's all about the plot and the plot hooks and everything around it. And I love him for it because he really is intricate in telling you how to do this. But at the end of the day, it is about our character stories. We can write the greatest campaign in the world. We can see in our minds how we want it to go as a GM. And we just kind of fall apart after that. Watching a little soccer in the background. So the problem with all this becomes that we just some days don't know where we're going with things. And despite what we may want to take our players, it is not us trying to take them down a created path. I'm trying to meld this all together. I guess the best thing is sometimes we focus so much on the plot and the world and the NPCs, and we forget to spend the time with our players and their backstories. I just started to lynch into this, and I've noticed this in my Reign of Winter campaign with Pathfinder, and I wish I could have posted it up. My fiance, and I give her, what do I call her? My girlfriend, fiance, love, the love of my life, said to me she really doesn't like me recording the games when her and little girl are around because if they say something, it goes out on the internet, heard by all. And I kind of agree with that. I wish I could have shown you the campaign yesterday because oh my gosh, it would have highlighted this. I've done so much to build a great story around the characters, and they really are drawn in, and they're drawn into the purpose. And I did integrate their backstories throughout it at points. But the past two Adventure Path modules that I've used, I have used very little to no of their background. And it's sad because it's become about finishing saving the world and not about their backstories. And that's to my shame as a GM. Even though I'm seasoned and experienced and you guys love it and you guys love watching it, I have made the mistake about making it about the end game and not about my players developing their characters to their fullest. And that is my fault on doing that and not doing all the right things that I should be doing. So, I have fallen into the wrong tools. So, I'm going to hit some tools that Zeb has hit that I've used before as well that I think are really integral tools to creating a campaign where we let go as the GMs and let the players write the story. Because I think that's when we truly arrive as GMs. When we allow our players to write the story. I'm not saying letting them just go off in some wild-haired tangent, okay, where it's just all out there and nothing makes sense. That's not the kind of campaign I'm talking about when I talk about letting go. I'm talking about, you know how in a movie we watch characters, and a Game of Thrones is a perfect book and series to talk about this. Each character in that story develops their background, and they all play into a major theme. But it is about the characters and not about the theme itself. We all know the White Walkers are doing what they're doing. We know about the end of the world concepts. We know about wanting to take the Iron Throne. We know about all those concepts. But that's not what we're drawn into. We're drawn into the characters. Yes, cat. My cat's not knowing where I am and having separation anxiety, even though I love the little crapper to death. There she is. Hi, Cassie. Maybe you'll get to see her on cam. So here's some things that will help us to have a Game of Thrones style of character development. I don't know if I love everything that R.R. Martin does about his story, but I love the characters. So the first is rules of improv, improvisation. What is one of the greatest ways for players to tell their story? To be improvisational in how they do it. It's about trust, first of all. That's the first rule. The GM needs to trust the players to improv properly. They need to let them be what they are instead of the competition or the enemy in writing the story. They need to trust that the players need to trust that the GM won't be arbitrary and isn't out to get them or just kill off their characters. That is not our role in life. So as we do this kind of stuff, we got to be careful. Janet, be careful of the cat. Do not play with the cat in a way that'll upset her. Sorry. Setup is everything. When you think about an improv show, the setup is everything. So to inspire players, we need to give them a way to set a scene to allow them to react and be them and not feel like they have to do something that we want them to do. We're setting it up to let them do something cool. Perfect example. The players meet in a small fishing village. They don't know each other, but they run into each other because a person is running away from the wharf, screaming that there's some sort of monster in the lagoon. All right? From there, we just stop as the GM and we let them take the story. Don't do too much detail that you're baiting them down a road. Say it's a man, and I love this from the adventure that was written by Chris Chris at oh my gosh, Chris, I'm blanking on you. God, I know. I did the conversion of it to D&D. Um, he had this person running down there, and the funny part was when I played in the with the GM running it, the GM just let us see the person running, screaming, and then it was up to us where we took it, and we did, and the GM let us take it, and it was a lot of fun because we went directions that maybe they didn't expect us to go, but we had fun doing it. No isn't the enemy. That's the next rule. Or no is the enemy. I'm sorry, no is the enemy. There are no bad ideas that come from players. You don't want to be the game killer and say, no, you can't do that. I have done that only in the sake of sometimes where the rules are clearly and physically defined. And those are times that as a GM we can say no, but we got to be careful in how we do it. Because no is the killer of improv. I almost said no yesterday when Kal-El attacked the plasma ooze. Now it was my fault in not hearing that he was saying, because he originally made he made these spiritual weapons to be war hammers, and I had forgot because he usually uses edged weapons like falcatas. So I'm used to that. So my fault was taking it as falcatas, but it was too late. I let him do his little thing because he was going to argue with me about who is going to go first, him or the plasma ooze. What he was hoping is he got surprised. Well, oozes can't be surprised. I mean, let's face it, they're blobs. You're not going to surprise an ooze. So I let him. I said, you know what? You do what you want to do with your spell, whether you think you should or not. I'm not going to argue with you. Now, he clearly understood the rules, but how he irritated me had me going towards no. So I let him have yes, and we had some fun with it. He basically hit the oozes so many times. Now, he even got that wrong. He was only supposed to do 4. Not right now, sweetie. I love you.
Got a new mouse.
The mouse is fine, sweetie. Go play. Go on.
I like new mouses.
Yes, it is a new mouse. Sorry, going into my thought. This is what happens when I do these home ones. So the end effect was he had too many attacks. I gave it to him. He created 12 oozes instead where there was 1. Because you use an edged weapon on an ooze, you get a lot. Now, had I played it right and remembered about the hammers, he would have done nothing, which would have killed the party most likely. But because of his mistake, he created more oozes, lesser hit points. Still did lots of damage. He got fried for 143 points of damage out of a possible 600 because he had damage reductions. He was high enough level, he had damage reductions. He even knew it. He was singed and lit up pretty good. His hair standing on end because plasma has electricity and fire. Fire didn't hurt him much. The electricity lit him up. Because of it, the player that had the spell with the fireball was able, or the firestorm was able to take things out, and it became fun. I mean, it literally became that the guys were chiding him about the fact of what he did and how he was trying to do the rules and how long he took. But by not saying no, I allowed them to write a better story. Listen to the players. GMs, so often we get irritated with our players that we hear something that they say and or we try to out expect them and we don't listen. Listen to them. Don't say. Once a scene gets going, keep it driving forward by ramping up the action, drama, or comedy. That is some of the best sessions I've had. Like with the ooze. We spent pretty much 45 minutes on the ooze. But it's going to be the thing that everybody remembers from that day is the ooze. And how much the ooze did. And I love that. Sorry, doing a little repositioning. The ooze was the fun of it, but Kal-El and the ooze, the war priest, will be the story that is that whole day. Forget anything else that happened that day. They'll remember parts of it. They're going to remember Kal-El and the ooze, and have fun. At the end of the day, when we're letting our players improv, have fun with them, laugh with them, enjoy the game, enjoy where they took it, enjoy the fact that they threw you on your head and spun you. Because sometimes that's where the best fun and the most memorable moments come from. Out of this Reign of Winter campaign, which has gone almost 2 years, the most memorable moments I have are when the players spun me on my head. Perfect example, and I mentioned in another video, Rasputin. They come against Rasputin. Rasputin's got an anti-life shell up. Now, they've got an idea of what the shell might be, because they're high enough characters and players, and they're sitting there and they're kind of going. They're figuring the magic won't do well either. So what do? They pick up stone benches and batter Rasputin to death. They don't kill him permanently, but they knock him down to where he has to go recover. Best scenario ever. And they talk about it. We spun you on your head, didn't we? We spun you. And I laughed with them and said, yep, you did. There was nothing written about pummeling Rasputin. And that's where you got to go with it. Translating rules to adventure. And this is the tough things, especially when you play Pathfinder like I do, or D&D sometimes. We want to give advice, but turning ideas into playable requires sitting down and just doing work. You know, just like playing a published adventure means reading the narrative and making notes, running an improv adventure means planning in advance. You got to plan enough in advance so you have somewhere to go when they spin you on your head. Rules. You know, you got to have some rules. This might seem obvious, but the most important tool set of rules the GM is the most important tool is a set of rules that the GM is comfortable with. If you have house rules, if you don't like a rule that's written in the book, then talk with your players ahead of time and set up some house rules that oversee. Now, make sure the players understand this is, especially new players, this is not normally how the game gets played, but I'm putting these things in here because there's times I've sat with my players and go, man, this rule doesn't make sense. Like, for instance, the players the other day on a Dybbuk, and you guys probably seen the Dybbuk movies, they went up against a Dybbuk. The cleric of Serenray used a slay, or not slay, but a destruction spell on them. To me, a destruction spell is necromantic energy that destroys, because it's clearly a necromantic. You know, it says under the thing, necromancy. Yet in the written description of the spell, and Paizo, I do take you a little bit to task on this. It says a holy fire of energy comes out and engulfs the creature hit by the destruction spell. Okay, so necromancy and holy fire, they don't make sense. Make destruction a healing or a evocation type of spell. No, we make it necromancy. Well, necromancy won't work on undead, in my mind. It won't, because it's negative energy. So I had to make a ruling in my own mind of saying, okay, this is holy fire. Scratch the necromancy. I've just got to go with it, okay? It says use a system that fits like a glove so the rules bend to the hand underneath of them. So if you're using Pathfinder, sometimes you gotta interpolate it a little bit. That's where people get all bent out of shape with the rules. No. There's certain things that you want to keep. Full round actions, you know, standard actions, quick actions, things like that. I love them. They make sense, but don't make them too cumbersome. Just know what they are. Boom, boom, boom. Write yourself a little cheat sheet that you like to work with. That's important. But the spells and some of the other items, you have a little bit of sway there. And you can set it a little bit your way and your flavor of interpretation. Just let the players know that that is your interpretation of it. Keep a crib sheet of monster stats, especially if you don't have a written monster out. Or have them, what I like to do ahead of time, I print out the monster stats ahead of time, so I've got them there. And that way, if I need to use them, I pull them up and I have them available. Or an NPC stats, same type of thing. Stock characters. Likewise, it helps, you know, to have a few standard NPCs ready to play. So I've got the standard NPC stats ready to play for me. And then have questions for the players. Questions will provide the raw material for encounters in the game. So basically, you've got to have some questions that take the characters and players to thinking about things. At the start of the game, ask each player to give their character's answer to the following questions, and there's some suggestion questions and these are the ones you've written out. So here's some samples. Let me give you an idea here. I really wish I had learned as a character. Have them write it out. My parents always wanted me to be a. Why does that play in? Because think about it. Our parents' influence on us as real human beings influence a lot of how we do things day to day, whether we go against them or whether we go for it. It influences the directions we take and the actions that we make. My best asset skill is, you want to know what their things are. Painvent, the rogue in my Pathfinder campaign, is a gift of lying and BS. He is a spy. He is a rogue. He BS's his way out of everything, and that his gift of gab is one, but his stealth is the second one. Orin. Orin is about the better good of the players. His thing is healing, mass healing, creative ways of healing, but he also knows how to take a monster down with the holy fire of Sarenrae. Okay? Or sometimes sneak around in a dust form that I can't hit him, and he knows this. Rothar, what's Rothar's thing? Rothar's best asset is smite evil, and boy, he knows how to use it. You get him in a situation where he doesn't know how to use it, his best asset is avoiding the combat sometimes, but still being a shield to the party. So what his second asset that he's really developed is his parry capability. He says, I hold my action, and as soon as somebody's going to go to hit that character, I'm parrying immediately. And he's got an ability that allows him to do that. Damien's action is charm or domination, but he also summons things and brings in helpful assets. Remily, the daredevil, she can either be an archer from afar, she can be a scout that kind of sneaks and stealths her way in, or she can be the daring duo swashbuckling type. Depends on what she needs to be. I would be most embarrassed if I was killed by. Oh my gosh, that's a great question. That really is. Because then you set up a lot of humor at your table. Blank would be awesome. This is the heroic moment potential. If I got to be a hero in this town, that would be awesome. If I got to run my own thieves guild in this town, that would be awesome. If I created my own smuggling ring, this would be awesome. The last thing I want to meet in the dark of night is, oh, that's a great question. The police, the militia, a hell knight. You know, it just depends on what you want to have. My goal in life is, this is a great one to tease the players with, because you can set the campaign around their goals and how to reach them. I really hate, and this could be a phobia, this could be a situation that they're backed into, whatever it may be. So write yourself some questions, and don't say. You know, you're not there necessarily to be the gabby one as the GM or the DM. You are there to facilitate the adventure that the players want to have. You facilitate the dialogue sometimes, the interaction, the information they can gather, the people they make friends or allies with, the roads they can take, the gossip they want to get. You facilitate this, not run it as a story. So, I know I've taken some extra time on this. I normally don't. We're going to be close to 30 minutes. I am sorry for those of you who say keep it at 20 to 25. But this topic needs a little bit more to be said. And so I'm going to take a little more time with it. And I hope you really enjoy it. Thanks again, guys. Love you guys being here. Love the gaming community. Big shout outs to the PAX group that are at PAX East. Have fun out there, folks. I know it's going to be a tremendous weekend. This is the last day today of it. Hope everybody had a great time out there, and we'll talk to you again soon.